Hello and happy May the 4th. May the 4th be with you all. Of course, at the time this video is being released, it'll probably be late in the month of May, but that's okay because I believe May the 4th is a springboard to what I consider to be Star Wars month, meaning there are plenty of dates throughout the month of May that celebrate Star Wars. Some argue, by the way, hello, welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba, Star Wars Box Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, and I am actually on my way to do kind of a collaborative event, a collaborative episode, if you will, with the Fanzine author and podcaster Into a Larger World, Kara DJ. And Kara and I go back a long way, well before I think either of us knew of each other's Star Wars fandom. Kara was one of my students in the school that I teach, and years later, she kind of reached out to me with, she had this fanzine, which I thought was awesome. So of course I subscribed, because, it's like, it's one thing to teach your students music, as I am a music teacher, but it's another thing entirely if you can serve as a pseudo Jedi master to their Padawan when it comes to Star Wars fandom. Not that that's what we've done. In fact, in many ways, I've learned more from her, as often masters are often taught by their Padawans. So, but Kara has done an amazing job of this awesome fanzine podcast, Into the Larger World project, where she reaches out to a lot of other fandom creators, both and just people that are just fans of the franchise in general. It's a really uplifting and positive event and format that she puts out there. So I'm excited to get out there and maybe see what Star Wars Day is like, sharing it with another fan person with a content creator, and see what we got. But yeah, a lot of people get weird about May the 4th. I mean, I know that in many ways it's just another day in some people's eyes to sell stuff. May the 4th, discount, 20% off, whatever, blah 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 blah. And I get that. Disney releases a bunch of stuff and whatever, but and I used to get real caught up in all of that, but now I just get caught up in the fandom of it. And for me, every day is Star Wars Day. Let's face it. But I do look forward to this day and this month. It is just kind of, for the most part, most of the Star Wars movies in general have been released in May. Okay, from the original trilogy to the prequel trilogy to Solo. Yes, they did a holiday release for the sequel trilogy, which I like too. But it does get out of my head around the holidays, like when there's an anniversary. Like we're coming up to the 10th anniversary of Force Awakens, which I think is great. But it's also right around the holidays, and there's a lot of other things going on in our lives related to the holidays that we don't think that much about that. So yeah, May always feels like the nice. It's also George Lucas's birthday month, and it's just a great time. It's also like the beginning of the summer, and when you think of summer blockbusters, not just Star Wars, but a lot of franchises, it's always a cool thing. So I'm not sure if I'm doing it yet, but when I'm done with this joint collaborative project I'm doing with Into a Larger World, I might be heading up to Wayne, New Jersey for one of their little toy shows that they do. They do them on a monthly basis, and I've been up to one. I've actually released footage from previous visits, and I'm kind of on the fence whether I want to go or not. Nothing that I liked it. It was a lot of fun, but and I'm a little curious to see if it's any different because it's May the 4th, a Star Wars Day. So there's a part of me that's like, well, maybe I can swing up there and do it. It's a bit of a drive, but maybe I can do it. But it's been a really crazy busy couple of weeks for me. I just released, at the time of the recording of this video, a huge video of my Disneyland adventures, me and my wife, as we were chaperoning a band trip to California, which included 3 days in Disneyland, and it just so happened to fall during Season of the Force and the Disneyland Star Wars Nights, which we decided to get purchase the hard ticket event and take part in that. And we had a good time with it. But you know, that running a band trip is exhausting. And right after that, we had some events going on at our school. There's a musical that we're both involved with a community group. I mean, it's just a lot. So I might need, and since this is kind of my only day off, I might need to use the rest of the day to just chill. But we'll see. Anyway, so let us begin our adventures, and then we'll go over to we're going to a place, I believe it's called Rascal Vintage Shop or Vintage Store. It's in Highbridge, New Jersey, and it is basically an antique store. And I don't know how much Star Wars stuff they have there, but I mean, you know, I was approached by Kara to kind of do this project together, and I thought, oh, this should be interesting. I you know, oftentimes what I do is my event is you know, my channel is basically a solo operation. It's just me. I produce it, I edit it, all on my phone, very low key. And this was something that I thought, well, this would be kind of nice to just kind of gather with another fan and put something together. You might have seen, if you watch my channel, you've seen Kara on the channel before. I actually brought her through a tour of my collection. She's been at my Star Wars sales the last couple of years. So, you know, it's a fun event it's fun to be able to pal up with another fan and try to kind of share our experiences together. Plus, I'm very interested in talking with her about her thoughts about Star Wars Celebration Japan. One of her big niche areas of collecting and fandom falls to Star Wars celebrations specifically. So she wasn't able to go to Japan, as neither was I, but it'd be cool to kind of see what her thoughts were on that. So let's do that, and we'll see where the day takes us. Okay, so we are here at Rascal Salvage Vintage, and they have a nice Star Wars display, and it's got really cool stuff from, you know, all eras, really. We've got the action figures here from the vintage years, along with some of the newer ones. And we also have looks like we got a TIE Fighter, you know, pretty cool. And then we've got I have some of these jewelry pieces. It's cool. And then, of course, as I mentioned, we have the fanzines from Into a Larger World. It's cool. Nice. Darth Vader 12-inch. That box is very appealing to me. And then we have some kind of crafty things here that are actually being made by like a local artisan. This mix of 80s, 90s. Cool buttons. What do we got here? Ooh. Rascal Salvage Vintage. Okay, cool. Some stickers. Oh, I like the Mickey phone too, I gotta say. These are some cool. This is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know.
These are fantastic.
But so some of the shits have like the same image replicated, but like in a smaller or bigger size or something.
Love it.
So there's one that
These are all originals. These are all like
this big, and it's
handmade. What a great idea.
It's really fun. So okay, what did you bring? You brought. These are all mine. Is this the?
Yeah, this is.
They're up.
I think these are all based on like utilizing sheets and stuff from other.
Hello, how are you?
Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars. May the 4th be with you. Got some skirts and sheets. Oh, so awesome.
Hi Mike, what's going on? I figured I'd see you today.
How are you?
Great. We're just listening to some fun.
Hey, chilling here with this Star Wars lo-fi. It's awesome.
Hi.
Okay, so here we are at Rascal Salvage, enjoying our May the 4th with Kara DJ Into the Larger World project. how's things been with you as of late?
Things have been good. It's a lot going on, but it's been fun.
I gotta point out.
Please.
I gotta point out the most amazing. There it is.
That's made by Nerd Matters,
Nerd
the
Matters.
icon, the legend.
Okay, I need to definitely get.
You
one
definitely
of those. I mean,
do.
I have the original. just
Right,
so-
you have the actual thing.
But to wear it as a pin, you know, feels like it's the appropriate thing to do. So
It's a must.
So like this May the 4th, we're coming off of Celebration, Star Wars Celebration.
Can't
Japan.
believe it. Yeah.
I know. And did you? I understand you were watching the live stream.
We were.
Like, you were watching real time.
We watched real time a little bit, and we did a little YouTube streaming. Me and my friend Travis from Force Time Pod,
Okay.
and we had some guests on, and we just kind of like tried to stay updated. We had a couple friends call in from Japan,
Wow,
which
that's
was
cool.
really
Alright.
cool. Yeah, it was so nice, and it was just nice to do
Yeah.
something. You know.
It was nice
So.
to be able to participate. I was not able to. I watched like usually the first hour live,
Yeah.
and then I passed out.
The time change was brutal.
Yes, and then the next day I would watch the rewatch, and,
Yeah.
and thankfully it happened over the weekend, and
Yes.
made it easier to do.
Yeah, that was
So,
good.
That was fun. But any announcements or events that took place there that kind of stick out in your mind?
I mean, I love that the running of the prisoners and the running of the hoods are now like equally as present. I love that.
Meaning,
Loved seeing that.
For those that don't know,
Oh, yes.
yeah, we should probably explain. There was one event that happened for years and years.
Yes.
That was called the running of the Wilrow Hoods. And Wilrow Hoods, if you watch The Empire Strikes Back, and you watch in the scene when Lando goes to his microphone and announces to everyone to flee the city because the Empire's taking control, then like a scene or two right after that, you just see a mass hysteria of everybody in
Evacuating,
Bespin
right?
just leaving
Yeah.
or Cloud City. And there's just this very long cut of this one guy in an orange jumpsuit with a big mustache, and he's carrying an ice cream maker. And for years it became like urban legend, like who is this guy? What does this say? Why has he got an ice cream maker? And then eventually he
got a name.
He got a name, Wilrow Hood. Hasbro gave him a name, and he got an action figure. And ever since then, it just became, somebody decided that this was going to be a thing.
Yes.
And during celebrations, they would do a running of the Wilrow Hoods. People would put on jumpsuits, orange jumpsuits, and
Ice cream
get
makers.
ice cream makers and go running around in a scheduled time. So if you watch any of the past Star Wars Celebration live streams, you see this is always a thing. And then more recently, with the first season of Andor, there was a scene, a whole segment that took place on a prison. What was the name of the prison?
Narkina 5.
Narkina 5. And all of the prisoners are dressed in white kind of jumpsuits style.
An
They were
orange stripe.
White pajamas with an orange stripe. And there's a big speech done by the character Kino Loy, played by Andy Serkis. Talks about, when they decide to break free, and he says there's one way out, and they all have to climb to the top and jump into the prisoners. The prisoners in the middle of the water, so they all have to jump into the water. And they're all yelling, "One way out, one way out," and they just do it. Now this has become another thing that you see with the running of the Narkina 5 prisoners, I guess
Right.
you could say. So people all show up in their white pajamas with orange
stripes, right,
and
exactly.
doing that. So that is a fun kind of tradition. Any other announcements?
I feel like I'm super excited for the Mall animated series.
Yes, that one was new. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I think that could be really promising. And also, we were just talking about the book announcements, and they
Yes.
announced the art of, was it the Acolyte?
I think so.
I think, which sounds awesome. I would love to see concept stuff for that.
Yes.
And then
But the Doug Chang.
And the Doug Chang.
Yeah. Doug Chang.
Two-book Doug Chang set. It's probably going to be $7 billion, and I'm going to buy it. So.
Only the signed version. Right?
Yeah, right.
No, I know. There was for me, it was, I loved seeing stuff about Andor Season 2. Seeing it was right around the corner.
Can't believe it.
I know. That
I
was
still
great.
can't believe it. It's happening now, and I
know.
can't believe it.
And then I loved the Ahsoka Season 2. I wasn't 100% sure that was going to be a thing, so I'm happy that it was a thing. I'm happy that they were filming right away. At the time of this recording, they've already begun
They
filming.
started, yeah.
They're going to bring Hayden Christensen back, which I'm all over that.
Me
So,
too. Absolutely.
very excited for those things. I like the Lucasfilm 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
And the whole Light and Magic Season 2.
The
That was a
logo
good-
design and all that. That's very cool.
I thought that was really good. And
It's
just,
awesome.
I have to say, I actually went back this week, and I was actually looking at one of the first Star Wars Live, Celebration Live day-long videos that they have on the StarWars.com
Yes.
saved on the channel. That's one thing they don't always have.
Don't always
Like,
save them.
The first day of this one,
They didn't save it.
They didn't
right?
save it. It wasn't there.
That was so weird.
Somebody named Carson. I can't think of the last name.
Shout out Carson.
Shout out to Carson. Type in Carson in Star Wars, and it'll probably come up in YouTube. And he actually did it.
Like saved it.
He saved
right?
it, and I got to look back and see how many of them he's done, because this is not the first time that Star Wars.com didn't always have the live stream
That's
ready.
true.
So
Yeah.
we were excited to just be able to see those things. But I went back to the very, very first one. And it's just so cool. It's not the very first one, but among the first.
Yeah.
And it was still pretty crowded, but it was amazing to see how much of a thing
How it's
become.
grown, I know.
And not just like for us the viewers, but also for people that are there.
It's unbelievable.
And I imagine that if I ever go again, which I hope to in 2 years,
You will.
that just gonna make sure. If I ever go, I want to at least spend part of a day at that Star Wars Celebration stage.
It's
just hang
great.
out.
It's one of the best places to go if you're at Celebration, because if you can't get into one of the main panels, that's always a thing. Then they have the overflow rooms. If you can't get in there, they do stream a lot of the panels at that live stage. Not always, but sometimes. But also, the people come from those big main panels,
Right.
the actors, and they go straight to the live stage. So you stand there for a couple hours, you'll see
everybody.
Everybody.
And if you're lucky, sometimes they clear out. Here's a good question for you. Do they clear everybody out and
No.
then bring? So you can just kind of
you can stay there all day if you want, or
'cause
you
I've
can come
seen
and go.
there
Yeah,
are times where I've seen there that it's not very crowded. I mean, I'll go right up to the front.
Totally.
Plant my feet and just get to see close
Yeah,
up, maybe
that's-
catch a
people hang out
Canon
there.
T-shirt. It would be awesome.
for sure. People do definitely hang out there all day. It's a
Right.
great spot to just chill.
Yeah, so that's definitely something. The other one that I think is, I know that there's a line for this, but the collecting track.
Oh,
So
you've got to get in there. With
I've done it.
You have? Okay,
I have.
good,
And
good.
I remember that basically there's a group of collectors, very famous
Amazing.
collectors, that put together a few years ago, or a few celebrations ago, I should say. They put together a collecting track, and it started off with something simple. Your podcast
Yeah.
talked about it with like patches or
Yeah.
or cards, trading.
It was
cards.
trading cards to start.
And then then all of a sudden they started doing coins and medallions, and then they started doing cereal boxes, and
Yep.
and they've gotten more. Then they started doing the little
Star tots.
the star tots,
Yeah.
And what they would do is it would be about, I would say, 20 different panels,
Yeah.
and you could. It may have like I said, have 500 seats in every, in the room.
Mm-hmm.
You can go in and you can do this, and then at the end of it, you'd get a specific one of these collectible items.
Yeah.
And then you go in with another, you go another one. You try to build up a collection of.
So
all
they
of them.
added like a collectible element to the collectible panels,
Right.
which is just genius.
And this one was
yeah.
it was like I guess it was like an acrylic box.
Yes.
That had a figure in front of it.
Yeah, and it
that-
was based on a Japanese thing that was in the late 70s, I think, which was like a stand for the figure.
Right.
But then they also, did you see they had a big life-size one where you could pose in
put
it
yourself
and
in
you
there,
could be
yeah.
the figure. It's
So
just
that
brilliant.
was an incredible thing to do. Now, because you weren't there, there's not much you can do. There's not much you can find. People sell them on eBay.
Yeah, they'll be
stuff
on
like that.
eBay. That's what I was gonna say.
I always tell the story. The first time I did that, I'm going to go to that collecting stage, and I was so eager that I went and I got to I knew it was the right stage, and I
Yeah.
thought I had the right time, but it wasn't. What it was instead was a kind of an overview of all the new product coming out from Sideshow and Gentle Giant and Hasbro.
right,
And they were all
okay.
there, and so I said, well, I'm here. So and I didn't realize until about halfway through, I was like, I don't think this is part of the collecting thing. So I was like, darn, I'm not going to get my medallion. or
Collectible, yeah.
But they were offering trivia, and I'll never forget, they asked the question, and this is in a room of 500 Star Wars fans. So the question was, what is the name of the detention block that Princess Leia was in? And it was a good full second that nobody answered. And I just quickly raised my hand and they picked me, and I got it. I had to go through the whole thing. Like level 5, detention block AA23, Cellblock 2187. And they said, you're right, come on up. And they gave me a stunt Stormtrooper life-size helmet. They pulled out this big, huge box, and I'm like, hoo, hoo, hoo. So still have it. But that was one of
you
my.
showed me that when I was
I'll show
over.
it to you next time. Yes. So
That's awesome.
that was my big moment, But then I did go to a few of the collecting
so
panels
cool.
after that. So
Yeah, they're amazing.
yeah. So Star Wars Celebration is still fresh on the brain. Andor season
always.
2 is out at this point. I just did the Star Wars night at Disneyland, and that was awesome. I mean, I don't normally get to go to the West Coast for stuff, but I was actually on a band trip, and we were able to sneak in there for a little while.
That's lucky.
And the timing worked out, and it was cool. It's a little crowded, for the Star Wars things. There's a lot of characters. We were just so exhausted from being around there all day. It was also the day our band actually performed, so I had walked 35,000 steps that day. So I was tired.
That's a lot.
But we did get to see a lot of things. We got to see a lot of they had some cute backdrops and stuff we could take photos with, and that didn't take too long. So.
Right. Okay.
And there were characters there, and the music was playing throughout the park, so that was really cool.
That is fun.
Yeah. So.
Awesome.
Okay, anything else should we
That's
report
it.
on?
I mean, I've got my blog, the Celebration Database, which is going strong. I've been blogging a lot about Celebration history. I am going to start blogging a little more about outside of Celebration fan events, so like going to events and looking for everything Star Wars related, and that's like a new thing I want to do.
Right.
And also trying to go to some more of these fan events across the country, and if I can't go, which is a lot of time because I'm broke, I will talk to the people who put them on or people who attend them. So that's a new thing coming to the blog, but it's all Celebration history, deep dives and crazy stuff, and my podcasting thing,
Yep.
Yeah, you got to come back on the pod.
I know. I want to get on the podcast. Well, as I said, I invited her to come out to. I run a Star Wars sale every year.
The best.
And people always laugh. They're like, "Are you done with Star Wars? Are you not collecting?" I was like, "Are you kidding?
No, this is so you can buy more.
This is so I can buy more stuff.
That's what I
so I
always
can
say,
have room to put more stuff in. This is so much, And there comes stuff. But I do. I'm very honest about my collecting. I think there are things I have kind of leaned more towards the vintage line of times. Just because it's more resonant to my childhood, you know what I mean? Which I think as a collector my age, I mean, even like you can see my shirt that has all of the boxing and stuff on that.
So good.
Done by my daughter, who's a really gifted artist, and during COVID, she would draw me these individual things, so I put it all together, and I said, this is very comfortable too. So, but I just like to make room for stuff, and then I can space things out some more, and bring more things into the collection, and then the next year we do it again, and that kind of thing. So it's going to be the 26th, 7th, 8th, and 9th of June.
I'll be there at least one day.
Central Jersey is all I'll say right now, but if you're on my channel, I will put out the information as we get closer, but that's the dates. And rain or shine, because I run it out of my garage now, because I don't have to move the stuff as much.
That's good.
Which is nice. So,
very nice.
All right, so we're going to cut it here, but thank you so much, Kara. And remember, check out the Into a Larger World podcast, zine. All right, you can find. Where can give them your
best places? Yeah, best place to go is Instagram, Into a Larger World Project, and then everything's linked there. So
all right, there we go. All right, cool. All right, guys, thanks, and until next time, may the Force and the toys be with you.